I'm Steve Hartman and welcome to Worship Central. This video is the first one in our series on how to play the guitar. We're going to start at the very beginning and move rapidly, so when social distancing is over, you'll be able to play with your worship team or whatever situation you're in. This is going to be easy and fun. In fact, if you send me $29.95, you'll be able to play like Eric Clapton in 5 minutes. I'm just kidding. This is completely free. You can help me though by hitting the subscribe button. It only takes a second and it really does help me. Now, the things you're going to need for this class is a guitar, a pencil and a notebook, or a pencil and a piece of paper, and a guitar tuner. If you already have a guitar tuner, great. If not, you can get on your cell phone and get a free app. The one I use is called Fender Tune, but there's a lot of free guitar tuning apps. Just grab one and we'll be ready to go. Now, I want to give you a word of encouragement by saying this. Almost all the songs on contemporary Christian radio and almost all the songs we sing in church only use a few chords, and they're all the same chords. This makes contemporary Christian music the perfect type of music for learning how to play the guitar. Now, I don't want to just tell you that, I want to show you. I'm going to use 4 chords, G, C, E minor, and D. Let me move a little bit and get this right there. I'm trading my sorrows, I'm trading my shame. Yes, Lord, yes, Lord, yes, yes, Lord. Holy is the Lord, God Almighty. The earth is filled with His glory. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God. Love will hold us together, make us a shelter to weather the storm. And I'll be my brother's keeper, so the whole world will know that we're not alone. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And the list goes on and on and on. If you learn 6 or 7 chords, you'll be able to play almost all the songs we do in church. The trick is to be able to do them in the same key that your singers can sing in. And there's this thing here. We used to call it a cheater. Now I just call it a capo. And for my British friends, a capo. For my friends south of the border, I'd like to know what you call it. Leave me a comment. I'm still learning. I never want to stop learning. So we put this up here somewhere like this. We can use the same chords and play something like... sometimes you have to tune when you put the capo on. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. And for my friends south of the border, they're going to tell me what this is called. Well, the same thing goes here. Toda la gloria, recibe toda la honra, precioso Hijo de Dios. We give you all of the glory, And that's just a little example of the vast majority of songs you're going to be able to play. Basically with those 4 chords, you add 3 or 4 more in there and you'll get them all. Now, of course, there's going to be things like Morning Has Broken and Come Thou Fount, which go past page 1 of a music theory book where you'll need to learn more. But I'm talking about for most of the songs, it's going to be really easy. So let's get right into it. Get your pencil and your paper out. If you need to pause the video, go ahead. Okay, you're back. First thing you need to know is how to tune your guitar and the names of the strings. So this is the name of the strings. Starting with the lowest string, which don't get confused, it's really the highest one up closest to the ceiling, but the lowest in pitch. E, A, D, G, B, E. And so get your tuner out, and here's what my E chord sounds like. My E string sounds like this. Get yours kind of close to that, and then tune it up with the tuner, and then click pause and come right back. Okay, so we're going to learn 4 chords today, and they're going to be G, C, D, and E minor. The first one is G. There's a few different ways to play it, but for today's lesson, we're going to take our ring finger and put it on the low E string on the 3rd fret, our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and our pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string. And it goes like that. Now, you'll see that my thumb is kind of sticking up. That's how I play most of the time. Sometimes, like especially if you're learning classical music, your teacher will tell you the thumb goes flat against the neck like that. I do that sometimes if I'm playing this chord. You'll see my thumb disappeared. But generally, it's up around the top, and you want to use the tips of your fingers to push down right on the string. So your fingers are curled around, and you should be able to hear each note distinctively. That's chord number 1. Now, for chord number 2, I want you to take these 2 fingers, your ring finger and your middle finger, and move them 1 string closer to the floor. So we're going to just go like that. And we're going to lift up the pinky finger and put down our index finger on the 1st fret of the B string. And that's C. I don't want you to play the low E string. That one's not part of this chord. Okay, you may want to pause it and practice that for a minute before we go on to the next chord, which is D. This one only uses 4 strings. And you're going to take our index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the high E string, and our ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. So we have this, and we're going to use the D string open, because it's a D chord, and it sounds like this. And now for the last chord, this is the easiest one. We're going to use our 2 middle fingers. We take our middle finger and put it on the 2nd fret of the A string, and our ring finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. So we've got that, and we can use all 6 strings on this. Now I want you to practice changing back and forth between E minor and C. You might want to pause, practice that for a bit till you get it. Now let's practice going between G and C. Now as we go through these lessons, I'm also going to be throwing in a lot of little tips and theory and stuff. On the C chord, you can actually leave this pinky finger down on the high E string on the 3rd fret, especially if you're going from the G chord to the C chord. So it sounds like that instead of this. This is just as much of a C chord as this. So we've got to practice now going back and forth between all 4. Let's go G, C, E minor, D. Practice that till you can do that smoothly. Doesn't have to be fast, just has to be smooth. And if you can do that, nice and smooth, you're doing great. Let's also practice going between the D chord and the G chord. So let's start with that and go to this. Okay, here's another little trick. When you're doing that, you can use both these fingers on the 3rd fret of the high E string and the B string. This B string doesn't have to be open. It can be that. So going back and forth between D and G, sometimes it's easier to do it that way. So practice that. Practice it both ways. Practice that and this. Now, if you can go smoothly between all 4 of these chords, you're ready for lesson 2, which is going to show you a few songs. And if there's a certain song you want to learn, leave it in the comments and I'll be sure and get to it. God bless you and thanks. I'll see you at the next lesson.